All right, guys, in this video, I just want to talk about how this thing is going to get reassembled. What parts are going to go into it to help me achieve my 500 horsepower goal, okay? Turbocharged, right? So it's actually partially built up, and those videos are coming. It's in short block form right now, and I just thought it'd be a good idea to discuss this. Now, earlier on, I was going to do an inspection video going through all the parts and showing you what's bad and whatnot, but honestly, the bottom end of this thing was okay. The main bearings look great, the rod bearings look great, the cam bearings, yeah, they were a little worn. I probably could have been okay with not touching the bottom end, okay? However, you don't know what ring end gap these motors have when they have high mileage. It could be all over the place. They could be pretty large and you'd be okay, or it could be pretty tight and it's not okay, because then they butt together and explode the pistons, right? And to be honest, with the inspection video, I just don't think there was enough there to make it an interesting video, okay? So let's just cover what's going back into this thing. As far as the block is concerned, all I did is ball hone the cylinders. They measured out great. Factory crosshatch was still there, so I felt that just a quick ball hone was fine. I am going to reassemble this in stock bottom end form, okay? So the crank is just getting polished. The stock crank can handle tons of power. This thing has the Gen 4 rods, which are in good shape, so I'm just going to rerun those rods. And these pistons are fine. There was no scuffing, nothing. The coating is now gone, so they're going to be a little looser in the bores, but oh well, that's what I'm going to live with. So stock pistons, stock rods, stock crank, okay? And just assemble it with new main bearings, new rod bearings, new cam bearings. Now, this was a truck motor, right? The cam that was in here, the power curve or power range or RPM range for a truck cam is like idle to what, 4,000 RPM? Not very desirable. So I'm going with the Elgin E1840P. It's also known as the Sloppy Stage 2 cam. It's a $250 cam, and it makes excellent power. A bunch of people on the internet, including Sloppy Mechanics, is using that cam over and over again and making great power. He shares the dyno results, and how can you argue with that, right? So along with the cam, you got to run the correct valve springs. So I'm using the PAC 1218 springs because those are like $140 springs, and they work with this cam. Piston rings, brand new piston rings that will be file fitted to a larger gap, so that way we don't butt the rings and destroy this engine, okay? So with a turbocharged engine, you're going to be generating a lot of heat in there, and you need more ring end gaps so the ring gaps never close, okay? So that was really important. So we went through that and checked that. Woo! It scared the crap out of me. Okay, so a video's coming out on the ring end gap as well. The heads, running the stock heads, I sent them to a machine shop for a valve job, okay? A 3-angle valve job. Cost was like 325 bucks since I blasted the heads, and all the guides were in good shape, so they just cut the seats and the valves, okay? And they also set up the PAC 1218 springs for me. There's a certain installed height. I just let them handle it because they need to put springs on in order to vacuum test it and all this good stuff. So I beat the topic of the cylinder heads to death, and I was hemming and hawing on whether I should just lap them or whatever, but fresh valve job on the heads. Okay, the push rods, I'm probably going to have to go with different size push rods because of a couple things. First of all, I'm going to get new lifters for this thing, LS7 style lifters, because the old ones, while they may work, my buddy told me that a lot of them could develop ticks or have ticks, engine ticks noises, and I don't want any of that. So it was like 160 bucks for a set of lifters, LF7 style, new trays, okay? And given that they decked the heads and probably grinded the valves and whatever, all that geometry is probably off a little bit, and then the LS7 lifters need to be set up to a correct preload amount. So I'm probably going to need new push rods, but I'll wait till everything's assembled and we will go through and check the push rod length in another video. I'm going to use the stock rockers. No sense of upgrading those. And even if I do want to upgrade those, they'll be at the top of the motor under the valve covers, and I can just upgrade that at any time when it's in the car. Okay, I'm going to use the stock truck intake. They make great power, no sense of changing that. And we'll deal with the intake way later on after it's in the car. And probably the only thing that I'm going to do there is upgrade the injectors, obviously, for more fuel. And then it's just a matter of adding the boost you want to get the power you want, and obviously enough fuel and whatnot. So that's it. I mean, it's pretty simple to make these create a lot of power. Okay, so that's just a super quick video. I just wanted to discuss what was going on with this thing, so stay tuned for the rest of the videos on completing this motor.